Hello, guys, and welcome to my Arizona Cardinals mock draft. I have been looking at their depth chart, and goodness, this is a team with a lot of needs and not a lot of picks. 6 picks, not the greatest. They are one of the teams that I kind of am in heavy favor for them trading down in the first round, just because what they need. I think that at 16, they should be able to get someone that they need, so to speak. That's a quality caliber player. But I just think that, like, if you're a team like this, you're trying to shore up on second and third round picks, to have more in the top 100. And if they get, if they add like one or two, maybe 3 picks, in, the second, third, and fourth round or something, then they can really help this team because there is a lot of uncertainty, but it's like that to me there is all good pieces, but they just need help in some glaring areas. I think they need another wide receiver. Whether they go that in the first round is, maybe. I think their O-line isn't terrible. It's not the best, but it's like a middle of the pack type of thing. Their defense, the thing that I'm worried about is honestly the pass rush. I mean, they have Josh Sweat, who I think is very good, but I think that they need another pass rusher. I mean, looking at this, it's like you have Akeem Davis-Gaither, who's, not terrible, but, I think that BJ Ojulari needs to, like, kind of step it up. He's going to have been in the league, for a couple of years, come this season. I think that he, if he steps it up, maybe they don't need one as much, but, then you also have the cornerback room. I think that, the guys they have aren't terrible and are serviceable, and then there's Buda Baker, obviously, who, is still a very, very good player, but, kind of looking at safety corner pass rush. I think that they're, D line, like these three, will do fine in a sense that, like, Calais Campbell's very good, Dalvin Tomlinson, a good veteran, and has played on a very top tier defense, even though he's, a little bit older. But otherwise, we're going to move into the draft. This will be a draft with no trades, however. So we're going to kind of look at this. And, much to the dismay, we have Mike Green getting taken the pick before this one. And then also Shamar Stewart, Matthew Golden's someone that I kind of look at. If Jahad Campbell would potentially fall, might be a huge thing to say, but if he falls to this pick, I think he's a guy you go after, but it's like looking at, looking at this and looking at who's available, you can obviously go James Pierce Jr. To me, there is just the issue with him of, like, off the field, I guess, and it's like you look at everyone else, it's like the next, down is Michael Williams. Jalen Walker, I think, would be a bold move. I did draft him to the Falcons yesterday as a sort of like reach, but projected skill level pick. But here's what I'm going to say, honestly, for here. I'm going to say we go Luther Burden. I think that he's got good talent. They do say he's a little lazy in practice and that sort of thing, but I think that, they need kind of an electric guy. Their guy that used to be kind of like this was Hollywood Brown, who they traded to the Chiefs before last season. And I just think that this guy could come in and he could be, maybe more dynamic. Maybe not more dynamic because obviously Hollywood Brown has great speed, but yeah, it's just one of those things. Moving on to the second round, it does say they need guard and D-line and CB. I'm kind of looking here at, honestly, Princely. I think you bring in Princely, and, he's been someone I've been very high on for a lot of teams. If he's here at this point, you take him. You take Princely, who had very good production. Moving on to round 3. So we've addressed edge, we've addressed wide receiver. we go and we look here, and it's like, who's available? Is there any sort of CBs that we can kind of say, hey, let's grab this guy? I'm looking and I'm not really seeing anybody. If we were going to double down on edge, I would go David Walker, but I don't think we're going to do that. Isaiah Bond, it's just a bit of a reach here, and he may honestly still be at the pick at 115. So it's like kind of looking here. I'm going to look at like the best position available. And I guess one thing I didn't really talk about was tight end. I think Trey McBride is, very good, but it's like you could get a serviceable number 2 tight end, and it's like do a run heavy scheme or something with James Conner. Maybe that isn't how they look at it type of thing. I do see Chris Paul Jr., however, which I'm going to go and I'm going to pull the trigger on this. I think linebacker is something that you really need to look at on this team. I think that Wilson, and Akeem Davis, goodness, I have been totally reading this wrong, but it's like, I think that, you addressed it a little bit, but it's like, add some youth in there. We're going to grab Chris Paul Jr., because they obviously see it as somewhat of a need. Here we are going to look and we're going to see whether or not Jacob Parrish did go to Kansas State, didn't played some all right talent, but none of the big schools. 5'10", 198, junior, 21 years old. Could be in the nickel. Who is their nickel back? It's Garrett Williams, whom I'm not going to lie, I don't know a lot about, but I do think coverage was somewhat of an issue with their team last year, getting gouged and that sort of thing. So, we're going to go this right here for their CB needs. We've already have we addressed a really true D-line? No, we've went edge, but we haven't went any sort of interior, and we have 2 picks left. I'm going to make us draft a guard and a defensive interior guy, even though there's nobody here. Connor Colby, let's look at it. At him, sorry, at it. Didn't give up, a lot last year. And he obviously going to a big school. He played a lot of top talent. Very, very average. But even in his first year, which I guess obviously was his way worse, but he's gotten better every year. We're pulling the trigger on Connor Colby. And then we're moving on to our final pick. And we should definitely draft defensive interior. So we have Ty Robinson, Howard Cross, and Thor Griffith. Stackhouse, Nash, Hutmacher, great name. I'm kind of looking at Ty Robinson, a guy who's a big, tall dude, and we're going to send him to the Cardinals. And that's going to be kind of the mock draft for this. Obviously, this team was another team that So they do say to draft Kenneth Grant. I do get it, but I also think that, you go Ty Robinson here in the back end and you have a guy who's big, freakish speed and that sort of thing, and it's bottom 31%, okay. But it's I think that Luther Burden, has been kind of going down, draft boards and that sort of thing, but it's kind of one of these where it's are you going to have... do you have the picks available you need to really address and really solidify these positions of need? And I think we addressed every position of need. Now it's we could have went, that there. And then I think, when we were drafting Ty Robinson in round 7, there was a couple of wide receivers that I liked. But, this is kind of a shorter one, you guys, but I want to thank you for watching it if you made it to the end, and leave a like and subscribe. I'm doing every single team as a 7-round mock draft, and then before the draft, what I plan to do, which will require a bit of research, is I'm going to do my top 10 prospects and why, at every single at every single position, and obviously different videos and that sort of thing leading up to draft time. I may not have time for everything. I might only cover like the weapons and the skill players and that sort of thing, but that's the plan. Once we get a little bit closer to draft time, we did the Cardinals here, and then we're going to do another sort of later round pick because we were working down from the Eagles, starting a few days ago. But, watch for that video as well, and it'll be posted later today. But I want to thank you all for watching, and as always, go Pack Go.